Hi guys, welcome to the last lecture on differentiation, and today we're going to be talking about differentiating for SEN students. Now, I'm not going to claim to be an expert there. I just worked with some SEND students in the past or in the previous 3 years, but I didn't thoroughly study it. So for a full disclosure on the different types of student learning needs and disabilities, you need to get back to the SEN department in your school or the SENCO in your school, or to look up an SEN specialist and just tell them to briefly explain the different educational needs that you can cater to, and so on. So I'm just going to briefly mention what they are, just to give you an overview and tell you a few tips that you can follow once you know your students' specific needs and how you can cater for him or her. There are just some tips that you can, keep at the back of your mind when you're implementing the class or changing your class to an online class. So first, let's start with an explanation. What does SEN stand for and what does SEND stand for? Now, both terms are used interchangeably, so they're basically the same thing. SEN stands for students with special educational needs, and SEND stands for students with special educational needs and disabilities. So as the name states, students who have a specific kind of challenge when it comes to learning, or they have a specific kind of disability that hinders the learning process, and you need to cater for them. Now, the types are a lot, and the examples are a lot, but I'm gonna base my discussion here on the students who have specific needs and who your SEND department or your SENCO or SEN coordinator has told you how to cater to them. And this is what you can do to kind of change it to a more of an online scenario. So briefly, there are so many needs that our students can have. Sometimes you have medical needs, such as students who are in wheelchairs, students who can't write, students who can't move around, students who have any kind of physical disability that hinders the learning process. Sometimes you have developmental difficulties, which means sometimes you have some students who are not developing as quickly or progressing as most of the students their age or in their class. Mental health, as the name states, mental diseases, mental disorders, behavior, I think it's clear, and learning. And my main focus here is on learning. This is what you can usually cater to more as a teacher. However, whenever you have an SEN student in your class, you have to receive something called an IEP, or an individual or independent report that your SEN department creates for you by telling you what their disabilities are, what their needs are, how you can cater to them, how they learn best, and then you can accommodate accordingly. I'm not going to claim to be able to tell you everything. I cannot look at a student, an SEN student, and tell you what kind of needs they have and how you can cater to them. I can, however, tell you some tweaks that you can do once you do know their case from your SEN department and you do know how to tackle it, how to handle it. Then I can tell you what you can do to change it or kind of accommodate online. So always go back to the SENCO, which is your SEN coordinator, or the SEN department. So they are the ones who should provide you with a list of names with students who have specific learning needs. They can tell you what kind of need it is and what kind of long-term plan they have for them and what kind of interventions you can do in class and accommodations you can do in class to help them out and to help them achieve their goals, their learning goals. Now, quick, this is not going to be a lot of things. I'm going to be very honest with you. I'm trying to cater to my SEN students as much as possible, but I always need help from my SENCO or my SEN coordinator. So 3 tips. The first one of which is the one I'm telling you about right now. Always go to your SENCO for help. So when you have an SEN, someone from the SEN department or an SEN coordinator, at the very beginning of the year, get in touch with them, ask them about your student, ask for their feedback, ask them what you can do to accommodate, and they can help you with a lot of things. They can help you with pull-out sessions where you have the class online and then they make a call with the student at the very same time or talk to him on the side and kind of help him follow up on your lesson. They can provide modifications for you. They can tell you how they can modify the lesson or explain it in a modified way or give you a modified version of the lesson. And they can also give you modified resources that accommodate to the student's needs. So if, for example, your student has some sort of learning disability where it's very difficult for them to read long pieces of text or to comprehend it, then they could, sort of provide you with a visual or a chart or a handout that again caters to their needs. This is just one example. The second thing you can do is to schedule additional support sessions. So if you have online sessions during the day, kind of give yourself a chance, give yourself some time with the students after class hours, which are already online. So after school hours, give them, let's say, an hour every week where you catch up with them. Have a meeting, one-on-one meeting or a one-on-one call where you go through what happened the previous week, simplify the lesson for them, ask them if they have any questions, ask them if they need any help, give them like a quick, easy assessment to see where they are and so on. The third thing you can do is to provide lots of additional and simplified resources. So always bear in mind that an SEN student cannot use the same resources you give to your regular students. So you have to give them additional resources, simplified resources, maybe give them a slower video with subtitles, maybe give them a simplified document, a simplified chart, and just kind of break things down for them, chunk them down into parts, into chunks so that they can follow along. And that's basically it. As I told you before, I'm not going to claim to be an expert in this area. I'm just telling you based on my learning experience with my students when I already had their individual learning plans, their ILPs, and I knew what I can do to kind of make things easier for them. So, what can you do for your SEN students? What is one thing you can do next session in order to make sure that you cater for them? Thank you guys for watching and see you again next lecture.